Okay, with a bit of luck, we're going to have our friend Pilar from Spain, and there she is, sitting with her lovely background, but she's disappeared again. But Pilar's going to take over and tell us everything about it from her angle. Pilar's a very well-known person on Broadcasting Scotland. We have spoken before, and it's lovely to see you again, Pilar. And what have you got to tell us? Your name's wrong, it says Victoria Johnson, but we know that you're Pilar.
Well, I think I'm going to speak about the European election result, and I have some highlights. The first highlight is the high turnout in some countries. The lower turnout was in Ireland, Malta, Cyprus, Portugal, and Bulgaria. And the other countries have shown a great turnout, a great participation of the European citizens, which shows that all these Brexit shambles have provoked that for us, for the European citizens to get more information or get well informed about the European Union and the need of being more united and more participated. So that's the first thing I have to tell. The other thing is, of course, the threat of the far-right parties concerning result in France with Le Pen, with a national rally with a 23.2% of the participation of the vote. I have to say that we don't have the final results. That's the first projection, and the first projection show that the center-right European People's Party is down about for 46, more or less. They will get 173 seats. The Social Democrats, center-left, we get 147 seats. Liberal Democrats, 102. The Greens are the big winners at the moment. There's a rise of the Green voters, and a very, very good result for Greens in Ireland, in Germany, and in France, and the Eurosceptic forces, according to this first projection, will get about 25% of the European Parliament seats. So let's see the results, because we don't have the results yet, but it is important in Greece, the result in Greece. New Democracy leader Kyriakos Mitsotakis is calling for Alexis Tsipras to resign because New Democracy has won in Greece. Now we know some results, some votes. Also in Hungary, the Hungary Fidesz took 53% of the vote. It's a good result for the Fidesz party, but a bad result for the far right. In Denmark, the Social Democracy, for example, has won, or according to these projections, I repeat this, the first projections and exit polls, and the far right would collapse, according to these results. And in Sweden, pretty much the same. The Social Democrats is the largest party, and the far-right nationalists are up 7.2% of vote, but will be in the third position. So that's pretty much the info at the moment. Here in Spain, for example, the Socialist Party is about to win. As you remember, the general elections in Spain, the Spanish national election took took place in Spain about 1 month ago, and the Socialist Party won the elections. We're about to know what happened with the government, because they have to negotiate the government. But of course, the Catalan issue is marking all these European elections, and also local and autonomous regional elections. So that's pretty much the same. According to this projection, these exit polls, Carles Puigdemont and Oriol Junqueras will be elected as MEPs. And that's it, Luis.
So, Pilar, tell me now. Let's. You gave us all those figures. They're all projections. We understand it's not the actual end vote yet, but these are exit polls which were taken. I don't think here in the UK we did that, because there's a different law that governs UK EU law, EU elections. In that you're not allowed to give projections, and you're not allowed to tell the turnout figures until after the thing has all been done. I don't know why that rule exists, but I know it does. So tell us, I suppose there was a great big bit of news there that the Greens have surged, but you say that the far right have fallen back a wee bit. Is that correct?
Yes, it looks like the far right and all the threat from the far right is going to be less than expected. Anyway, I think it's an important movement, and we have to be careful, as I told other times in broadcasting in Scotland. I spoke about a resolution, a EU Parliament resolution against the neo-Nazis, far-right organizations, and especially here in Spain with Vox. Vox will get, according to this projection, 4 or 5 seats in the European Parliament. It is true that the German neo-Nazi party, for example, that party had 1 seat in the European Parliament, and according to this projection, this party would lose its sole seat at the European Parliament. So let's see what happens, because it's early to make any prediction about that. I think we have to take very, very serious this issue, because one thing, if you speak to people, many of the problems with the European Parliament and with these European Parliament elections is many of us have little idea about what is all about, what Europe is all about. In some way, Brexit has provoked provoke people to look more into the European Parliament, into the laws, European laws, how the European Parliament made the decisions, etc. So it's a lack of information, and the European Parliament and Europe has to change that, because the perception from the people, the ordinary people, is Europe order, and order in a bad way, is the police, when it's not true. So those movements, the far-right movements, populist movements, are using arguments with fake news and fake arguments to promote all of this.
Right. Very fascinating. Very fascinating what you're speaking of there. See, I was listening so intently to what you were saying, and then something buzzed in my ear and I lost the train. I'm sorry about that. The machine went wrong in my ear. Yes, I know what I was going to ask you now. I mean, I would like to talk to you about all those different things that you just spoke of, but I think that what I need to do is to ask you a couple of questions which relate Spain and Catalonia back to Scotland. because obviously this is broadcasting Scotland, and I wondered if you'd heard any news of Carlo Ponseti and Charles Puigdemont.
According to these exit polls, Carles Puigdemont is going to become MEP, and also Oriol Junqueras. Oriol Junqueras and other political prisoners in Catalonia has been suspended. They won the election. Esquerra Republicana won the election. They got about 1 million votes. 1 million votes is a lot of votes. They are democratically elected MPs in Madrid, but we don't know exactly why, because the rules, the parliamentarian rules, are not so clear. But the president of the Spanish Congress decided to suspend these MEPs, the Catalan MEPs. So Oriol Junqueras is also in the European Free Alliance list, so is about to get a seat in the European Parliament. We don't know what is going to happen with the Puigdemont parties, because the statistics and the exit polls were very confusing. So
we really just got to wait until a bit later on and find out the exact figures.
If you allow me, Luis, because I will be very pleased if you let me to raise a concern here, because it's about the EU citizens' rights.
Yes.
And the EU citizen having problems and being denied the vote.
Yes. We discussed this the other night very, very deeply, but please say what you've got to say about it.
That news was all over the Spanish media, and I asked some Scots bro to tell me what they think about that. I asked them to if they had any problem to register or to vote, and I have here a message from Colin McPherson, the Australian, the Germans for Scottish independence. If you allow me to read that, it's okay?
Yes, please.
Yes, Colin says, for any EU citizens who has chosen to make their life in another country, the EU elections are always important, as they offer one of the few chances to vote where you live. For the Scots, you are completely disenfranchised after 15 years. Equally, voting in national elections in your home country when you have chosen to make your life elsewhere seems to make little sense. This is something the EU ought to address. On that basis, I was delighted to be able to vote after all, and disgusted at how many people were disenfranchised by the incompetence of the UK system, EU citizens in the UK and vice versa. In Germany, I had minor problems casting my vote. Having confirmed in March, I was registered. I phoned the local electoral office last week to make arrangements for a postal vote. They discovered I was not registered, but I promised to look into it. A few hours later, I received a phone call, was told a mistake had been made, and it would be sorted out. The next day, I cast my vote. So, where there is a will, there is a way. On a European basis, it will be important that the populist parties that are gaining support in many countries like AfD in Germany are pitched back. For Scotland, I hope that we send a clear sign to Westminster and Europe that Scotland wants to remain a part of the family of nations, and we will do it as an equal partner. That's Colin McPherson, an Australian from Australian, German for Scottish independence. I spoke also to some Scots in Malaga, for example. They had no problem at all to register. They have
So
no problem at all.
did you actually hear of any problems anywhere other than in the UK?
Well, yes, with the postal vote. The postal vote is.
But that was the postal votes coming from the UK, wasn't it?
Yeah, the postal vote is provoking a lot of problems because the documents didn't arrive on time. So it's very complicated. Some people, and I know in Greece, for example, in Germany, in Latin America, for example, received the forms after the elections.
I've got something here because I was briefed on this a bit earlier on. It was about the Viktor Orban and his crowd in Hungary, and it was just this little bit that struck me as being interesting in this light, because if you think of people not being able to get their vote from postal votes, or the people who were denied their votes as European citizens within the UK the other day, this says, although the constituency in question was won by the main party in Hungary by a wide margin, overall the party secured its critical 2/3 majority in Parliament by as little as 425 votes. 425 votes. So he got this kind of, Viktor Orban got this super majority or something, but it was only by less than 500 votes. So it does matter that if people can't vote properly, doesn't it?
Well, it's complicated. It's very complicated. Of course, they have to find out what is going on, and they have to find out where the system is failing.
Yeah, now, does that come down to the European Union investigating the UK government? Or is it an outside body? Will the UN come in and do a test on this? What, I mean, how will this investigation take place? Any idea?
I don't know. And now it's even more complicated because of the situation of Brexit situation. In other situation, the European Union will investigate this.
Well, the UK is still a member of the European Union, isn't it?
Irregularities, etc. But right now, the Liberator know the European Parliament can, or the European Commission can call for an investigation, but it's up to the Electoral Commission in the UK. So it's very complicated. It's outrageous.
It is outrageous, yeah.
They have
but I tell you what was
to have thousands and thousands of European citizens.
Another thing that you said a little bit earlier on was really quite extraordinary too. I mean, you've said a load of extraordinary things in your talk tonight. I mean, quite. You know, I'm hanging on all these different words you're saying and trying to grab hold of them. But you said that the Brexit thing had actually caused people to re-examine the ideas they had about Europe. And do you think that the Brexit has actually caused this? Because we're told that it's the largest turnout for an EU election so far.
Absolutely. First of all,
so people are actually understanding more the value of the European Union now because of Brexit.
The Brexit shambles have provoked, first of all, for the parties to change their arguments and look into the austerity policies and anti-social policies. And second of all, the Brexit shambles has provoked, because of the arguments of the Brexit party, etc., has provoked curiosity.
Yeah. So, Pilar, I think that you've got a video for us.
Yes, I got two videos. In fact, I got two videos. One of us is from from the first time of my husband, Douglas Naismith, who was voting here for the very first time. He was very, very happy with that. And the other thing was from Chris Carney in Catalonia, who was voting too there, and he wanted to share his views with us.
Okay, roll VT, as they used to say.
I'm Chris Carney, I live here in Catalonia, and I'm voting today in the European elections. I'm voting first of all because I can vote here. In the UK elections I'm not able to vote. Secondly, I'm voting here for the political prisoners who've now been locked up for almost 2 years. The Catalan political prisoners have been locked up for almost 2 years for their views on democracy. And thirdly, I'm voting on behalf, if you like, of all those European citizens in Scotland who've been unable to vote, thanks to the fact that the UK government hasn't given them that right. So I can vote today, and I have voted today.
I'm Douglas, Pilar's husband. Here we are in beautiful Santiago de Compostela, in Galicia, northwest Spain. And there is the polling booth. There's another one just over there. So, 23 years I've been living here, and this is the first time that I'm going to vote. I did try once before and they knocked me back, but I think that was more because I didn't tick the right box. But this time with Brexit and everything, I went down, made sure, ticked all the right boxes. I've got my card. I even changed my driving license. I mean, I've got my British passport, but I'm in the process with the Fajon, there's a new word for you, of Brexit, of becoming Spanish. So it's a new experience for me. I haven't voted, I don't think, since in the 90s sometime. So I didn't get a vote in Indy Ref but I can't even remember the last time I voted. But this is the first time here. So let's go and see if they let me do it. Casi 50. Well, there we are. I voted. First time here. It was possible. Did it with my new driving license that doesn't have a Union Jack on it. It's got a nice European flag. And it was a fairly easy process. It's very busy. I just picked the two papers and put them in an envelope. One's the European, the other's the municipal elections. So I decided that for Europe, I voted for Ana Miranda. She's the Bloque Nacionalista Galega. because, well, they're interested in here.
This is
They look after. She does a lot of work in Europe, especially for the fishing sector. Got lots of friends there, and I think it's important to have a voice here in Galicia, not one that's just interested in central Madrid. And for the municipal elections, I voted for Martino Noriega, he's the alcalde, the mayor here. I liked a lot of the projects he's done, particularly things like the Banquete de Goncho, which is kind of historical, political party event, and many other things. Also cleaning up a lot of the corruption from the previous PP administrations, and I think he deserves another shot. And there we are. Hey, I know there was like lots of people in the UK, I think up to 100,000 people in the UK were denied the vote, but I wasn't denied the vote here. So there we are.
So, that was lovely to visit Spain, wasn't it? Lovely blue sky, almost as blue as the background behind me, but a bit brighter, a bit more sunny. So now, Pilar's there.
Yep.
Thank you very much, Pilar, for taking that wonderful video. It was like a sunbathing on a lovely beach to see that lovely blue sky. Thanks for all your comments. I hope you're going to come back later. I don't know if you are, but if you are, that would be great. But I don't know all the running order. I'll just sit here and hope for the best.
Sure, I'll be delighted.
But thanks for all the insight, for all those projections, and we'll talk a bit later on, because I've got Philippa Whitford has joined me in the studio, along with Annika, who's been here going through all the different bits and pieces of the European Union. You've been up from Ayr?
Yeah, I was in South Ayrshire at the Count and North Ayrshire as well.
What was the atmosphere like at the Count in South Ayrshire?
Well, it's difficult because you can't easily tally the votes or anything early on, so you don't get much of a sense of what's happening. By the time I was at North Ayrshire, we had the turnout at least, which was 35.6. Previously it was 30.6.
Oh, so it was up a bit.
Still low, but up 5%.
Yeah, because I think from overall, there's been a great surge of people going out to vote.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I would have liked it to have been higher still. I think that always makes it a more robust election. It's still disappointing that it is as low as it is. But I think for many people, this is still not something they're engaged with. Brexit has become something they just can't face thinking about. And for many people, they'll be thinking, well, what's the point? They may not even get to take their seats, or they may only be in their seats for a few months. But I think pretty much everywhere it's gone up. I don't think there's many places where it's gone down.